I'm Jamie.
Welcome to As Told by ADHD. This podcast is the brainchild of two best friends with ADHD who share a passion for learning and a knack for finding the most fascinating tidbits of knowledge.
Each week, we embark on a wild and hilarious journey of discovery as we dive headfirst into topics that pique our interest and curiosity. From dark folklore to bizarre statistics, cultural ceremonies, and famous dead people, we are here to entertain, educate, and tickle your funny bone.
This week on As Told by ADHD, we decided to dive into animals and places they aren't supposed to be. History edition. Because that's where we went. That's where both of us
Oh, really?
went.
Wait, how do you know what I did?
Because when we were talking about the topic, you were just like, oh, like this. And the first example was an animal in history.
But did I do
Did
that?
you not go history?
I don't know. Find out.
Ooh, it's a mystery.
It's a mystery history.
Bars.
Anyway, coin flip.
Again.
I lost my coin, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
It was in my hand. Oh, wait, I got it. Hold on.
It's time for the coin flip. She's picking it up off the floor.
Okay. Heads or tails?
I'm happy Freddie didn't eat it.
Why would he eat it? It's
tails.
metal.
I don't know. It's on the floor.
Okay. Coin flip. Wait, what was it?
Tails.
Your tails?
Yes.
What the fuck is tails again?
Hold on. I wrote it down.
Is this one?
Tails is tower.
Okay.
Heads is map. Tails is tower.
So I go first.
Yes.
Okay. So, to start off my animal where it should not be, I'm going to do a little excerpt from a news broadcast.
Interesting.
A recent news broadcast. I'm going to put on my best news broadcast voice. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
This story is about a Russian spy, or at least one expected to be a spy. Russian spies have been feared for decades now. Books have been written about them. Movies have been made about them. The KGB is Russia's intelligence agency, a global sensation during the Cold War. It ran a sophisticated network of spies across the nations. People began admiring the agency and its spies simply because it gave the best intel agencies a run for their money. And while the Cold War is far behind us, the fear of Russian spies lingers on. The appearance of an animal off the coast of Sweden has sparked fears within NATO. The latest fear is this. Has Russia released whale spies on its enemies?
Oh my god. You're kidding. Bro,
Okay.
what?
Okay.
Not the whales.
Listen. Escucha.
Their echolocation or telling the Russians where the submarines are.
Well, okay. Let me tell you a little bit about this whale. So the big white ones with the little thing on its head. They named him Hvaldimir. So his name is Hvaldimir. And it's a pun based off of the Norwegian word for whale, which is Val. And then Vladimir Putin's name. So Hvaldimir.
Nice.
I think it's funny. So this beautiful, majestic whale was his first appearance was in 19, what the fuck? No. His first appearance was in 2019.
Oh, this is recent. Are they really? Okay, I'm not going to say that. Never
mind. His first appearance was in 2019 near Hammerfest in northern Norway. He was wearing a camera with a GoPro on it. And the equipment was labeled Equipment St. Petersburg, which is in Russia. For those of you who don't know geography, which is me.
Have you heard there's a rumor in St. Petersburg? Have you heard there's a rumor on the streets? I love Anastasia. Fun fact.
I was about to get down and do like the. Okay, so it had the equipment ladled.
Ladle.
Label St. Petersburg. After spending time with the whale, speculations led the public to believe the whale was trained by the Russian government. Let's get into it.
Let's see, please. I'm so confused.
Okay, so the whale showed up, was just hanging out in like the Norway like coast. It looks like, if you've ever seen Norway, he was kind of like in the bay.
Mm-hmm.
Like the inner parts. I don't know if
it's a bay.
If you don't know geography and you don't know what it looks like, it's like a little. For those of you only listening to the sound, you're welcome. Figure that out. If that didn't encourage you to look up the map, I don't know what will.
You're screwed, guy.
Yeah. So they found him wearing equipment. So he had like this, I don't want to say it's a harness. It was like like when you use that strap to like tie a bed to a truck bed or something.
Yeah.
Like the little ratchet one that's like.
Yeah.
It was like that.
It's a ratchet strap.
Yeah, ratchet strap. So it was like that, and then it had a GoPro mounted on him. And it said St. Petersburg, so people were like, that's real weird. Wonder why this guy has a little thing on it. And so he started rubbing up against the boat, and he was like, hey, can you get this off of me, guys? This is not comfortable. Can you take it off? And so...
I mean...
right?
I don't blame the guy.
Right. So, this guy... Oh my god, hold on.
This guy saw this beluga on the boat, just doing a little scratchy poo.
True. That did happen.
Got you.
This guy saw this little guy. Well, not really little. A little big guy.
They're so cute, though. If you haven't seen a beluga, they're adorable.
Oh, this story gets cuter. Just wait.
Okay.
So so like one of the fishermen sees the guy, or the little big guy in the water. Hvaldimir. I'm sure that's in his language. That's how you say it.
They do make bubble noises with their heads.
That's true. But yeah, so this guy dives in and takes the strap off of him, and then he's like, hey. The whale's like, hey, you're my friend now. So he keeps coming back like every day, and he's like, oh my god, you guys are awesome. Let me help you out. I'm going to help you catch fish. After a little while, the whale is just hanging out, and they're like, what do we do with this whale? Like, he's just like hanging out in this like bay. We don't know what to do with it. Then the government got involved and was like, listen, guys, just listen. We don't need to interact with this whale because one of two reasons. This whale might become hostile and hurt someone, or he will become too dependent on humans and then not be able to survive by himself.
It's definitely the second one because they're not violent creatures whatsoever.
Right.
They're so sweet.
Well, the thing is, I think they're because they were worried that it was possibly Russian government, they might have done something to the whale to make it hostile. Maybe. I think that was the thought process there. But after spending a little bit of time with this whale, they noticed that he like knew hand signals, and they're like, hold on a minute. He's wearing Russian stuff. He knows hand signals. This fucking government sent this whale to spy on us.
Easy math. That mathed so quick.
Right. So that's why the government was like, listen, like Norway was like, listen, we can't interact with this whale. We can't do it. Fast forward a little bit, like a few weeks, few months, the whale, like they were like, you know what, we're gonna leave him alone and see if he can eat, like find food himself. But the whale came back a couple times and was very malnourished, so they were like, we gotta feed this whale. Like we're not gonna let this whale die. So they started feeding the whale with permission from the government, and so after a while, they started doing feeding tours or like feeding shows. So they would take like tourists out to watch feed this whale so it could pay for the whale's food, which is smart.
That's really smart. Have to give that to them.
Yeah. But one sad day, the whale got caught by a fisherman somehow, like by accident. Like he was trying to like catch something else and the whale just kind of like got in the way. And he got really injured, so they nursed him back to health and released him back after like taking care of him, blah, blah, blah. And then in 2019, he ended up leaving the harbor. So, it was like, I think it was like July 2019, and he had showed up in April of 2019. So a few months he spent in the harbor. He had a great time, but he was still like kind of like swimming around and just doing his own thing. And like they were feeding him every now and then when they found him, but he figured out how to feed himself. At this time, in this moment, they believe he's around 13 to 14 years old.
Okay, I was going to ask that. If he was a bib.
Yeah, and over the past 3 years, he's just been kind of swimming around. But in the area that he's swimming around, he's the only beluga whale. Which is sad, because beluga whales are very, like, very sociable
very
creatures.
family-oriented, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he does love humans. Like, he loves humans. He thinks that they're great. And humans think that he's great. But over the last couple of months, or not couple months, I guess the last couple months, so there was 3 years of him just, like, bebopping around, doing his own thing, going his own pace, going pretty slow. Out of nowhere, over the last couple months, he's been zooming. He's, like, going up and down, like, the coast. He's gone all...
So they put a tracker on him.
Well, no, I think there's a nonprofit called One Whale, and they're keeping track of him.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know how they're keeping track of him. I think they're just, like, because there is also, like, a hotline of if you see this whale, then let us know. And because he's the only beluga whale in that area, he's pretty easy to spot.
It's not hard. Was he still wearing the GoPro?
Mm-mm.
They took it off?
They took it off of him. But he's, like, zooming, and they're like, what the heck's happening? What's he doing? That's weird. And so there was a professional that did an interview, and they were like, why is he doing this? And here are some possible reasons. Hormones. Because at the age of 13 to 14, beluga whales' hormones are very high. And another reason could be loneliness, because he's looking for other whales. He's trying to find a mate, maybe. And it's not his natural habitat. So he's probably looking for other whales, but also hormones. So they think those are the two main reasons. But I did some other, like, research of, like, reasons why they think that it's a Russian spy whale.
Okay.
And it looks like Russia has been known to train whales before, like, for the Navy. So this one article that I read, I think it was from the BBC. They spoke with someone who was related to, like, military, and they were like, why do people think that this whale is a part of the Russian government? And they were like, well, they've been known to train whales before, but only to, like, guard the naval bases. And they also train them to help scuba divers find lost equipment, which I think is really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And then one last thing with this part of my story. There is a website. I looked into it. It looks pretty legit. It looks like they're still active and functional. They're still trying to help this whale out and help him thrive and survive. It's called onewhale.org, and their like ultimate goal is to build a reserve for him and bring other beluga whales in so he can have like a little family and like make this giant open reserve where like he's safe and he has people and he also has other whales because he's been around people for so long and he hasn't been around a lot of whales. So they're just trying to like do what's best for this whale. On the website, you have 2 options if you want. Well, I guess 3 so you can go look at the website, read about it, watch the videos they have. And then they have options of donation and options of volunteering. And you can go check that out. And it's called onewhale.org, and it's pretty cool.
Because he's one whale, and he's just in a harbor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Aww.
But that brings me to my next animal. I wasn't going to do 2, but I thought that the first one was going to like be really, really short. So I was like, because it was like nothing. Oh, I forgot to say, he showed up over like on the coast of Sweden recently, like within the last month. So that's why like I ended up finding out about it because they were like a Russian spy whale off the coast of Sweden, and I was like, excuse me.
That's awesome.
A Russian spy whale? Do we want to elaborate there?
A Russian spy whale, dude.
Okay.
I feel like a beluga would be the whale to spy, though, because they're very curious creatures. They could just be chilling.
After reading that story and watching videos of this whale, I want to be friends with a beluga whale.
I mean, that'd be cool. I've been watching videos. I think I really, like, yesterday especially, I kind of went into a rabbit hole on, like, reels on Instagram, and it was this guy, it kept popping up. It's this guy at some sort of aquarium type location, diving in with the beluga whale, and he's just, like, hanging out with them. They're just gracefully swimming together and just playing together. And I was just like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. And so when you said beluga whale, I was just like, oh, how dare they? Because they're such friendly, sweet animals.
Well, okay, it's not proven that he is a Russian spy whale. He's just thought to be.
I know. Just when you, like, first brought it up, I was just like, oh, no, not the beluga.
Mm-hmm. But I do want to talk about Wojtek. Wojtek. A Syrian brown bear that was born in 1942.
She did the Russian bear.
I thought he was Russian. Apparently, he's he was not born in Russia, but he was a part of the Polish armed forces, or land forces.
Huh.
Okay, so let's talk about him.
Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about that. Oh, I thought
Let's talk about it.
Okay. So, Wojtek, he is a Syrian brown bear born in 1942. And he died December 2nd of 1963. So he lived a pretty good life. Like, doing great stuff. So, he was born in the Middle East near Iran. And his mother was shot and killed by hunters. So he was left to be a little baby cub all alone. So sad.
That is so sad.
I know. He was found by an Iranian boy. And I read that there was this, like, is the word like splatoon? Like a unit of soldiers that were stationed there at the time, and they were like on their way out. Because I think it said something about how they had Polish civilians there as captives. So they were like saving these Polish civilians, which like I think they just like did an agreement, and they were like, hey, can we have our people back? And they were like, okay, fine, whatever. from what I saw. Like,
that's fair.
That's how
I mean, common sense, fair,
That's how I imagine military goes. Like, listen, can we just, we're so sick of this shit. Can we just have our people back? Okay. Fine, you got us. Look at my bag. Like, swipe or no swiping. Like, hey, you took him again. Don't do that.
No swiping. Aw, man.
That's how I imagine. That's how I like to imagine military, because otherwise it's depressing and sad.
Agreed.
Okay. So, one of the people that were with this unit was like a niece of, I think it said she was a niece of or a great niece of one of the people that was there. I don't know. They just took somebody important, I guess. But this girl, she was like, oh my God, this bear is so cute. I have to have him. And they were like, dude, it's a bear. No. And they were like, she's like, no, I have to have this bear. I have to have this bear right now. Look how cute he is. And they were like, okay, fine, whatever. So they bought the bear from the boy.
Wow.
So he was relocated to Poland and lived several months with this girl. And she was like the main caretaker. But then I'm assuming the bear got too big.
I mean,
because it was a bear cub when she bought it. And so this bear got a little too big, so she donated the bear to the 22nd Artillery Supply Company, which is part of their military.
The military was just like, yeah, we'll take your bear.
Yeah.
What?
This was a different time, my dude.
I mean, they're just like, oh, the bear's too big for you? We have a spot. We can enlist him right now. Yeah, we'll take him off your hands. No problem. Thank you.
Oh, bear, hell yeah. So with that being said, he got his name Wojtek there. So I did a little research on the name, and it looks like it's a nickname for the word Wojciech or something. I think it's Wojciech, which means happy warrior. And I probably butchered that, honestly, the Wojciech, but
it's fine. It's fine.
Let's talk about.
We're not Russian.
Neither are they.
Polish. I meant Polish. We're not Polish.
So let's talk a little bit about how they took care of this bear.
Okay.
So they attempted to feed this bear condensed milk from old vodka bottles, and it worked. Your face.
So this was a fat bear with liver problems.
Probably. He also had like fruits and honey and like all kinds of stuff that he really liked. He was often rewarded with beer, his favorite drink.
Oh, so his liver was... How did he have a long life?
Oh, it gets worse. So he loved mimicking the soldiers. He would just do whatever they did. He loved wrestling. He loved wrestling the soldiers. And so they would just wrestle this bear. Terrifying. If I was in the...
Those men wanted to be real men.
Great.
I wrestle bears.
Why are you Scottish? I wrestle bears. I'm French, you're Scottish. Bears.
Bears. I wrestle bears.
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 Listen.
You're the one who went to language class. Help me.
Language class. It wasn't language class. It was accents.
It was like language accent class.
I didn't learn the actual language. I did. Let's see. Beer. Nope. That was French.
Bear.
I
wrestle bear.
You're literally Scottish. I wrestle bear.
I am Scottish though. Hold on. While you're trying to figure out that accent, let me tell you how Scottish I am. I'm a biracial woman, and I am more Scottish than I am African American. Or African, because I am American. But anyways, hold on. Try to get that accent down. You got it, I believe.
Me? You want me to? Okay.
Yeah, you.
Let me think. Okay, so to get in the accent, I have to do the first part of the monologue that I did when I was in that class.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Go.
So, listen, I need you not to judge me.
I'm not judging.
It's impossible to choose. So, I like to wrestle bears.
There you go.
Is that better? Does that work?
That's better.
Okay.
That's better.
It's impossible to choose.
It's impossible.
That's a really
Let's
funny
see.
play if you ever want to.
17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
What are you counting?
30, 31, 32, 33, 34. I am 34% African, just from different tribes. All these different tribes have different percentages, okay?
I had no clue what you were counting. You did not prep.
So
I thought you were just counting. I was like, is she just showing off her skills? Like, what's happening?
I can count all the way to 37. Oh my gosh.
Okay, what were you saying?
So hold on. Dang it, I lost it because I'm dyslexic. I can't actually remember the number I just said.
Yeah, you said
What did I
37.
say? I said 30. No, before that.
36.
Before I just said I can count to
35.
37. 36? 35?
I don't know.
Damn it. I have to count again.
I thought it was 39-ish. In
Okay.
the 30s. You don't have to count it again.
In the 30s percent African, 26% Scottish, and 26% England and northwestern Europe. So that could possibly mean that I'm just extremely what's the word? I think a lot of my ancestry could possibly have come from Vikings, because Vikings were all up in the Scottish area, and they were also in northwestern Europe. So I'm 26% Scottish, 26% England and northwestern Europe. So I think my ancestors are heavy from the Vikings, because they were just all up in that. They just conquered and fought and women all up in that area.
All up in that.
They were all up in it. So yeah, I'm definitely more white than I am.
Wait, how did we get on this subject?
Because how did we get on this subject?
Welcome to As Told by ADHD.
ADHD. Okay, finish talking about your
I don't know where I was. Oh, okay.
wrestling bears.
Yeah, his favorite drink, beer. He loved wrestling. He was taught how to greet with a salute. So he would just be like, boom.
He would just be walking and just...
He would copy the soldiers a lot. So he would be drinking when they were drinking. He would be smoking when they were smoking. So smoking, they tried to get him to smoke a couple of times, but eventually he was like, no, I just want to eat it. So then he would just eat it.
Wow.
Yeah. So he would smoke, which, like, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do to get that nicotine fix, you know? He also would march with them. Like, he wouldn't walk on all fours. He would, like, march on his hind legs. Mm-hmm.
All the time?
I wouldn't say all the time, but most likely, like, when the soldiers were, like, marching. You know, like, when they're, like, going... Dum, 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 dum.
The ants go marching one by one, hurrah, hurrah.
The bears go marching one by one. The bears go marching one by one. I don't know the words.
Zoom, 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 zoom.
So, they were eventually called to war.
Dun, dun, dun.
And they took the bear with them. So this bear went to war with them. I don't remember where they went, but they had to go fight some people, blah, blah, blah. This bear helped them carry ammunition. And the ammunition that they carried, they came in crates that took 4 normal men to carry. This bear could pick up one of those crates and just carry it.
That's insane.
Right?
That's all that wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And so he was carrying all these things. He did such a good job. They promoted him to corporal.
Wow.
Which I looked in the Polish government to see what ranking that would be for them, because I feel like most
translated into American ranking, yeah.
It's middle of the road.
Really?
Yes. This bear was higher ranked than a lot of soldiers. What a good bear.
Bro, that's crazy.
But eventually the whole platoon / unit was sent to Scotland. Funny that you had a Scottish accent earlier. They were sent to Scotland, and in 1947, he was given to the Edinburgh Zoo. And he lived happily ever after in the zoo. And he happily responded to Polish. If he ever heard Polish, he would be like, huh? Because, he just grew up around Polish. And people would sneak him cigarette packets.
Because he has to get his fix.
He does have to get his fix. I wonder if anybody ever gave him any beer. Beer for the bear.
Good
bear
question. Bear beer.
Mm-hmm. That was my first album name. Bear Beer.
In college.
In college, yeah.
But that was such a good story.
Yeah, those are 2 animals that are not where they should be. So.
Yes. Completely agree. Okay. Bathroom break.
Oh, okay. No.
All right, so now it's time for my topic. Are we excited? Pretty excited.
I paused dramatically, and so you were like, no, we're excited.
We are excited.
No, bitch. No, bitch.
Be excited.
We're excited. I know you talked about a whale and a bear, but I'm pretty great. And I got a great story.
I really like the story of both. I like both of them. They're really...
I wasn't expecting to do 2.
Belugas are probably my favorite. Belugas are my favorite sea creature because they're just so sweet. And they're so blubbery. They just look so cuddly. And then the bear, that's just interesting how they just took the bear.
Yeah.
I'm just yeah, we'll recruit him. Okay. All right. So... when I was looking for an animal in a place where it shouldn't be, I stumbled upon probably one of the most, intricate, one of the most genius schemes, almost.
I love this immediately.
Yeah. So, that's just what I got out of it, right? Because it was it's a horse who knows math and science. So I was like, interesting. Okay. So I was on this this website. It was the History Collection, I believe. Yes, historycollection.com. And it's just all of these animals of history. And I was like, ooh, yes, options. We love that. And I came across this horse. His name is Clever Hans, which I thought was kind of cute because you measure a horse's size with hands. So I just thought his name being clever, like Hans, was like, that was cute. Okay, whatever. Anyways, so this is in 1907, and the fact on here said, in the early 20th century, Clever Hans the horse amazed people across Germany, touring the country with his trainer, Wilhelm.
Wilhelm?
Okay, I'm gonna try that again. Because it's it's Wilhelm. Wilhelm. We'll just say Wilhelm. If I butcher it, I butcher it. Okay, so this takes place in 1907, and it says on here, the summarized version that I found, it says, in the early 20th century, Clever Hans the horse amazed people across Germany. Touring the country with his trainer, Wilhelm von Osten, Hans showed a staggering intellectual ability. People watched mouths agape as Hans added, subtracted, divided, and multiplied. He also read, spelled words, and understood German. Eventually, the intelligentista, it's intelligent, but SIA on the end.
Nice.
Okay. Eventually, the intelligentsia took note and examined Hans and Wilhelm. Led by Oscar Fung. Oh my gosh, I'm dying because I read this in my head. Led by Oscar Fungst, Pfungst.
Nice.
So take that. You can spell check me. The Hans Commission found that Hans actually responded to his trainer's unconscious visual cues. Though Hans didn't turn out to be as clever as people thought, his story changed the scientific method. Ever since, psychological tests have been double-blind.
Excuse me?
So I was like, interesting. Okay, so I'm going to dive into this because this horse, who was so famous for being like one of the smartest, most intelligent animals, which horses are very intelligent creatures. But it just turned out that it was kind of like a parent, in my opinion. It is kind of like a parent when they're trying to show off something that their kid can do, almost. You get what I'm saying? Like, my child is only 2 years old, but he can count to 20, you know? And as the kid is counting, you're going like, okay, that's next. You know, like giving them assurance whether you realize it or not. So I was like, the horse was responding to like unconscious visual cues. So he was doing something that was encouraging the horse that it's on the right, mindset or on the right track.
Yeah.
So I dove into this a little bit because I was like, how on earth did this happen? Right? And let's see. I got onto Britannica.com. And it goes into a little bit more depth. So somebody came along and was just like, okay, I believe that horses are smart. I really do. But this is like insane. So I need to investigate because I'm a scientist and I know that this just can't be true, right? Instead of just living this horse live his best life, you know? But Clever Hans, a German Der Klug Hans, was a performing horse in Berlin in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, celebrated for demonstrating remarkable intelligence. The feats performed by the horse were eventually explained as simple behavioral responses to subtle cues provided, perhaps unintentionally. all websites were saying unconscious or unintentional cues by his handler. Since that time, behavioral researchers have referred to the clever Hans effect to denote the danger of unintentional cueing of the desired behavior by questioner if experiments aren't carefully designed. So I thought that was so interesting because this horse did change history because it unlocked a new curiosity amongst scientists. So there's a whole effect called the clever Hans effect that started from a horse being able to take subtle cues, and now they use it to help with like the environment when they're performing behavioral tests, all that kind of stuff, behavioral test of any type and experiments. In exhibitions beginning in 1891 and led by his trainer, remember old von Osten, Hans would demonstrate almost human intelligence by responding to questions with a variety of hoof taps or other actions. Using this method, Hans amazed both the general public and leading psychologists of the day with his apparent ability to perform arithmetic functions, identify colors, read and spell, and even identify musical tones. A number of investigators examined the horse and handler and concluded that no voluntary signals were being given to the horse. So I guess they just watched him like a hawk, right? I don't know if it was from a distance or what, but they watched the heck out of this dude. So they concluded that there was no voluntary signals that were being given to the horse. And that led many to suppose that Hans' apparent mental abilities were real. In a report published in 1907, however, a series of carefully designed experiments and close behavioral observations, Oscar Pfungst, Pfungst, for those who want to correct, a student at the Psychological Institute in the University of Berlin concluded that clever Hans was in fact simply responding to very subtle and probably involuntary cues from von Osten. The rigor of Pfungst's trials and the detail of his observation are considered the classic early examples of experimental design in behavioral psychology. So he did change a lot in the scientific world because of how subtle and how oh my gosh, you look so bored.
Oh no, I'm not.
You're just like,
no, I'm actually very tired. Sorry.
Science, my guy.
I was just thinking, like, who woke up one day and was like, you know what? I'm gonna teach this horse math.
Bro, right? Like, I get that he was a handler. He wasn't even like a scientist.
He was like, you know what, dude?
He was a handler.
This horse looks so smart. I'm gonna teach it math.
I'm gonna teach him math, arithmetic. He's gonna learn the colors of the rainbow today.
Hilarious.
Bach? He knows all about it. Mozart? That's his best friend.
I thought you were making... Are you making chicken noises? Bach?
No!
I was like, wait, what? That's a horse, not a chicken.
Oh, man. Okay. But yeah, I just thought that was very interesting because he did change history, but it could have possibly been... It was seen as like a scheme at first. It was like, there's no way this guy is doing something to get money from people. Mm-hmm. This guy is doing something to trick the minds of everyone around him and profit off of it. So scientists came in and it was just like, we're going to watch the heck out of you. But in turn, he still changed history. Or
did this guy... Was he just so delusional that he was like, this is the smartest fucking horse I've ever met in my life. I have to tell everybody. And he genuinely thought that this horse was so incredibly smart. But in reality, he was just kind of a dumbass. Not the horse.
Yeah,
the man.
He could have been book smart, but not common sense smart.
Mm-hmm. I bet he was just like, oh my God, this horse. I have to share this horse with everybody in the world.
I have to. Have to. So yeah, that's Clever Hans. There's a whole scientific method around him, behavioral scientific method around him. Thought that was really cool. It's in all the history books and stuff.
That's fun.
But when I was going through like all of these animals, do you know how many animals are documented in history for just being in the right place at the right time?
Probably a lot. Like,
they stopped. It's like, this animal stopped wars. This animal killed this king, and this terrible reign was over. Like, so many.
Also, let's hold on a minute. Let's talk about the pug that saved that one king.
Yes.
Once upon a time, there was a pug who was such a little prince. He was great. And he slept with his dada, who was a king. I don't remember what king, but he slept in the bed with his dada. And one night, some people were trying to come stage a coup and kill this king. And the pug was like, "Bork, bork, bork. Wake the fuck up, bork, bork." And he woke up and saw the people coming, and so then he was able to get out. So,
what a great pug.
He's a pug. He's a pug, but
he's a pug. He's a pug. He's a pugga wugga. He's a pug.
Where's mine?
He's got a pugga.
Well.
He's still right there, just staring.
He was right
He's
here.
Just staring. Oh, he wants something.
I think he's got to go to the POTTY.
Okay. Well, then I'll finish up real quick because I just want to let you guys know some of these animals that changed history, okay? I just need you guys to know this because it was some of the most wild documented things. Geese saved Rome from the Senonic Celts. And,
say it with confidence.
Senone. Senone. Senon. Okay. Geese saved Rome from the Senone Celts in 390 BC.
What is that?
So, in 390 BC, Rome was at war with the Senone Celts for over 2 centuries. The Celts had fought and spread through Europe, but this year they reached the gates of Rome. While the Romans slept, the Celtic commander Brennus sent his bravest warriors to scale the cliffs by the capital line. Unfortunately, Rome's fearsome guard mastiffs slept through the clatter of weapons, but not everything snored at night. Geese, sacred to Juno, lived in the capital line and awoke to hiss and honk at the cells. This woke the Romans, who fought off the Celts and saved Rome.
Nice. Like the pug.
We have
pugs and geese. Pugs and geese.
Pugs and geese.
Pugs and geese and pugs and geese.
Pugs and geese and pugs and geese. Chairman Mao ordered all sparrows to be killed in 1958, and a great famine followed their destruction. This genius man, Chairman Mao, waged war on an unlikely enemy. Noticing that tiny sparrows frequently stole a little bit of grain, he saw opportunity to increase grain production. Birds are public animals of capitalism, roared Mao's government, launching a campaign to exterminate them. Professional hunters and ordinary folk alike chased sparrows, leading many to die from exhaustion. People destroyed their nest and smashed their eggs, and unfortunately, Mao didn't realize that sparrows also ate insects that did far more damage to agriculture, and the resultant ecological imbalance exacerbated the Great Chinese Famine, which killed between 15 and 45 million people.
Listen. Men, am I right? But also,
I'm gonna make so much money and ends up killing 15 million people.
I bet it wasn't even the money. I bet it was like his pride. Like one day he was just like eating some food and he's like, "This food, top tier." And then a sparrow comes down and he's like, "What the fuck is this bird doing in front of me? What are you doing?" And then eats its food and runs off with it. And he's like, "I'm fucking killing all these fucking birds."
Oh man. Okay. Where was another one? I'm just gonna read some of these titles. A greyhound helped the cause of the English Reformation. In 1783, a sheep called Montesil became the first land mammal to fly in a hot air balloon, I believe. Let's see.
Can you
What?
go back? You said a seal?
No.
Oh.
His name was Montesil.
I thought you said he was a seal. I was like, why are they putting seals in
he was a sheep. He was a sheep.
I thought they were
He was the first land mammal to fly.
I really thought that they were just throwing seals in air balloons.
Nah, girl. In 1859, a pig started a war between the U.S. and Britain.
I mean, that honestly sounds about right.
Sounds about right. Let's see.
White man. Am I right?
White men. Let's see. Okay. William of Orange's horse tripped on a molehill, killing him to the delight of the Jacobites. So the moles killed.
Listen, that would be a dumb way to die. Like, I feel
dumb ways to die.
Like, I wouldn't. If I died that way, I would literally be mortified as a ghost. I'd be like nearly headless Nick walking around being like, I fucking died over molehill.
Oh man. In 1932, Australia went to war with the Emos and lost.
Nice. I do know that one. I do know that story.
Yeah, I was just like, that's terrible.
They're aggressive.
No, they are, but it's just funny that they went to war with them and
again, I just imagine it
lost.
being like they were just like minding their business one day, and then this emu comes and like attacks someone, and then like runs off, and then the guy just stands up and he's like, "Fuck, I'm gonna murder all these fucking emus." Yeah, say emu in an Australian accent.
Emu.
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 Welcome to Australia.
Isn't that right? Wouldn't it be like that?
Sort your life out, mate. Emu.
Sort your life out, mate. Emu.
I'll ask
Emu.
Julia.
Okay. That sounds... Okay. Sort your life out, mate.
All
right, but yeah, that was just some of the titles. I thought it was interesting because people have these animals documented in history, and they didn't mean to be there.
Mm-hmm.
They were just there.
Yeah.
That they're just there, and they became a huge part of history. Just like that.
Like Wojtek and Hvaldimir.
Just existing. And now they're going to be in history books and all over the internet for eternity.
Yeah.
In massive museums, everything.
Yep.
So, yeah. But thank you guys for joining us today.
That was really loud.
Wake up, Jamie.
Listen, I'm also like trying not to move around a lot because I noticed when I was...
I miss you moving around because you're a lot more energetic.
No, listen. It's because... when I was editing the last one, I just heard... like,
that sucks.
Constantly. I just spilled coffee everywhere.
While doing that?
Yes.
Go get a paper towel.
I'm just using my sleeve.
No!
What?
I bought you that sweater.
I know. It smells like coffee now, which I do like. So... Okay.
We're not slobs, I swear.
I also have it on a coaster, so most of it went on the coaster.
Okay, cool.
However,
thank you guys for joining us today.
Thank you.
We talked
so
about
much.
animals. And we love animals.
Animals?
Animals are great.
Listen,
and
listen.
Enjoy them.
Segue really quick. Or not really segue, just random tangent.
Segue.
So do you know that Liberty Mutual song?
Liberty.
So dumb, right?
Yes.
I keep getting ads for it, like whenever I'm like watching YouTube, or if I'm like watching anything really, I'll get an ad for it, and I've started singing along with it, but instead of saying Liberty, I always go Liberty.
Why?
I just do it.
I reminded her because of emus.
Did you?
There's emus in the Liberty commercial.
Is that not an ostrich?
Is it an ostrich or an emu?
They look really similar.
They do.
Are we racist against
Are we
flightless giant birds?
We are not woke. We're not. Those poor emus.
And ostriches.
Ostriches?
No, it reminded me because you said something twice, and then it made me think, like you said something two times in a row, and I was like, Litterby.
Nice.
It makes it a lot more
Welcome to As Told by ADHD.
Actually, goodbye. We're done.
Yeah, goodbye.
We'll
see you guys next week. Have a wonderful week. Do something nice for yourself.
Yes.
Bye. Ooh, I. Bye.
Okay.
It sounded like Britney Spears. Oh, baby.
Bye.
What was I supposed to know?
It's the end of the episode.
Okay, bye.